Oh, my profane friends, I can't believe it. Look at this, right? Look, I've got analyze storage. They've just removed this post. I'll show you what it is in a minute, yeah? Right. This, look, we have removed your post, right? This is the actual post, yeah? The Masonic BBC, which equals the skull and boners, yeah? Because it's BB 22 and the C equals 3, yeah? Skull and bones. That's why it's, remember, everything's symbolism. You know, look, and they are right desperate to shush us up, but you wait till the floodgates really open and the Freemasons lose control of their power. They will rise up in the communities, but to put the profane in their place and shush them back up with wars and perverted, oh, bloody thing, right there, perverted chaos, because that's what they do, you know what I mean? When it gets close to them, you know, ever get coming into the power, they start Masonic wars. Research it. There's been wars before, and they've done it because they were going to get shifted out of America one time. Do you know what I mean? So they started the war, but that's another story. Anyway, so I said go here for Freemasonry within the UK. This is your Masonic UK. Decades and centuries of monolithic, sinister corruption against all nations across the world. Their desperation knows no bounds. Now, on the end of that, I actually put, I was editing the video, yeah. So this went up by the look of things, and then I edited it, and I said whatever she's saying, yeah, this woman, right, whatever she's saying, this woman here, and if anyone knows who she is, I'd like to know, because I don't know who she is. So if anyone can enlighten me, because I want to do research on her, right? Because I said in my video, this is the video that she's putting across, yeah? And I'll tell you in a minute what I put.
Conspiracy theory rabbit hole. They believe that everything is staged or a hoax or it didn't really happen. The most important thing to do is to start a conversation. Actually chat to them about what they believe and why they believe it.
I can't listen to that again. But listen to this. The questions that you've got to ask yourselves as well, right? This is the BBC, yeah? The questions she's getting you to ask your friends, yeah? You've got to ask that against what they're putting across the telly. What she's saying ain't gospel. Do you know what I mean? Who is she to you and your family? That's the first question, yeah? She's a nobody. She's nothing to do with your family. Do you see what I mean? So you've got to think for the best interest of your own family within your own community, yeah? She's working for the big agenda elite. The second question is, you've got to ask, is she an Eastern Star? Is she working for Freemasons? Is her dad or a mum or past relatives of her family, are they lords, dukes and earls, and is she on that agenda? Do you know what I mean? These are the questions you've got to ask yourself, because who is she? What is she? What does she represent? Do you see what I mean? That's what you've got to ask yourself, because remember what these people are now saying here, yeah, right, they're saying to you, you've got to believe everything we put across your telly. Do you know what I mean? Because what we say is the truth. Now, we know these people have lied and lied and lied. You know, they've lied about going to war. They've lied about 9/11. They've lied about the chemtrails. They now know their desperation. They're desperate to get that across so that we don't, you know, this is what I mean. This is, remember, this is a war. This is now propaganda, right? This is what the CIA do, the FBI, the who was over here, MI5, all of this is who they work for, you know what I mean? Because the last thing they want is you waking up to Freemasonry and them controlling your towns and cities. They still want you thinking about the chemtrails. They still want you thinking about the flat earth and everything, because that's all a distraction. Once you take the power away from them in your towns and in your cities, and no one's answering up to these bods no more, yeah, that's like if Norwich, for instance, say Norwich went independent, right? So boom, kicked all the Freemasons out, right, of power, yeah, and it went independent and profane people were in control, yeah. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to send the army in, the Masonic army, yeah. You know what I mean? They're going to be dressed in uniforms, yeah, but they're going to be dressed by hiding their aprons, yeah. Their aprons will be behind a military uniform, yeah. First of all, obviously they'll send the police in, you know what I mean? If the police can't do nothing, even if the police stand side by side with you, that don't mean nothing. The last resort they're going to do, because you think you've got your freedoms from these people, you haven't. You know what I mean? They're going to send the army in to sort you out. But that's what it's about. You know what I mean? Look, it's here now. Look,
try not to become enemies of one another.
See, try not to be enemies
What
of
can
one
you do
another.
if someone you know has fallen down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole?
This
They
is
believe that
crazy.
everything
Who
is
is this
staged or
woman?
a hoax or it didn't really happen. The most important thing to do is to start a conversation. Actually chat to
You know
them
what I mean?
about
It's
what
just a Savile. That's
they
all that
believe
is.
and why.
A woman, you know, who's a Jimmy Savile. You know, because they're the people who protect. And obviously, look, my post has disappeared. Look, you see, and there it goes. See, but I put it in for review. Do you know what I mean? But I asked the questions, yeah, and the question was, who are you? Who's your family? Do you know what I mean? And I obviously I linked this post in because this is a pinned post. Look, you won't find that on my wall because it has too much information about Freemasonry, so they hide it from you. Do you know what I mean? Look, see, Masonic plot, the Masonic war machine, the Coven of Witches, which are Freemasons. Do you know what I mean? Masonic sex symbolism. It's all to do with Freemasonry. This is. Do you know what I mean? Everything, you know, especially the government. You know what I mean? Look, see, systematic corruption and interagency collusion is rife in the UK. Do you know what I mean? And that's the thing, you see, it's all, you know, once you learn it, yeah, that all of this, yeah, what you get worldwide goes on within your towns and cities, yeah, and it's the people within your towns and cities that are a cartel, are a nation of people within your town and city, yeah, they're a nation of people, yeah, that control the whole across the world, and they do it systematically from town halls, from their Masonic lodges, do you know what I mean, from their police stations, from their social services, from their, do you know what I mean? And that's what you've got to wake up from and get around, do you know what I mean? Forget about the chemtrails, forget about whether the earth's flat. They want you on that, yeah, because it's a distraction. They don't want you looking to what is corrupt and rotten within your town. You know what I mean? They want you to keep thinking about number 10, the White House, you know, what's going on in the Ukraine, all these places. They're all important, but you've all got to come together and get the corruption within your town and within your city. Yeah. And if you do the research, you'll find it leads straight back to where the Masonic lodge is. Do you know what I mean? And in there, you've got cartels of like drug dealers. Do you know what I mean? And all that, you know, it doesn't matter who it is, you know, the Cray twins, you know, you can go back to any, I don't care where it is, and you do the research and you'll come up with Freemasonry. Yeah. Any career criminal that's high in the echelons of power, yeah, that has businesses, you know, within your town and within your city that go back to the, you know, 1600s, 1500s, yeah, all that corruption that goes on and on and on and on and on comes from the Masonic lodge. Do you know what I mean? And that's all it is. But anyway, like I said, they've stopped that post. But like I said, people have got to have the sense, yeah, to question what she's saying. Do you know what I mean? I mean, who is she? What is she? What do the BBC represent apart from brother Jimmy Savile, you know, and Rolf Harris and all the rest of the paedophiles they've put out? So straight away, you cannot trust the BBC at all. I mean, who is she? What is she? What does she represent? Who are her family members? Are they Freemasons? Do you see what I mean? Even the top is dodgy. Look, it look like circles with points within circles, doesn't it? You see the flowers? Look, points within circles, you see? It's all Masonic symbols. Masonic blue, Masonic red. Do you see what I mean? Red Lodge, Blue Lodge. This is how they
and
do
then
it.
also the conspiracy theories, the stuff that is just totally contrary to the evidence and isn't true. Bad stuff does happen and powerful people do bad things, but that doesn't mean that everything is staged or part of a plot. Really interrogate their sources. So think about who they're getting this content from. Ask them to challenge them. Think about whether they have the expertise or the knowledge to be talking about this. Where has their evidence come from? Is there any evidence at all? So really help them to analyse those accounts. Give them the agency, empower them to really kind of investigate this stuff themselves.
And that's the thing, we need our own evidence, our own gain, our own investigations, like I've been doing. I've been investigating, watching, you know what I mean? Like I said, they brag about it online, you know. Just go to any YouTube videos, yeah, and put in, you know, bouncers, yeah, or doorman, or, you know, crime lord or whatever, and it comes up and they stand there, they go, well, I've got an army of men, of 50 men, and we run the doors in this town. Do you know what I mean? Look at Tyson Fury's brother. He sits there and he brags that he controlled the whole city. Yeah, I wanted to take over the city, so that's what I did. I controlled the city. Yeah, I think it was Liverpool or Manchester. I can't remember now. But they're all bragging about it. You know what I mean? Because that's what runs your towns and what runs your cities. corrupt Freemasons. Do you know what I mean? And they're doing it from the lodge. Do you know what I mean? And they're just an army and a Masonic gang that has the strong, you know, that has took all the strong out of communities and making people, you know, bow to their will. Because how do you go up against a monolithic corrupt people or a nation that is on one agenda and has to keep profane people under their jackboot, so we're always enslaved to their ways? You know, they own the shops, they own all the businesses. Do you know what I mean? They're the bankers, they own the banks. Whether you get a bank loan or not is decided in the Masonic lodge. You know, that's what I said, you know, and they can despise you and make you lose your house or your job and put you right in the fucking gutter if it suits them. Do you know what I mean? And that's the power they have over anyone and everyone who is without the temple. Do you know what I mean? And that's what we've got to watch. So like I said, you know, I can't post this video. It's been deleted. Obviously, I'm now going to post this, you know what I mean? But like I said, the questions that have got to be asked is, who are you? What are you? What's your agenda? And if you're working for the BBC, we know you're corrupt as hell anyway. All of you in there. Do you know what I mean? So just don't believe this sort of people. These are full of shit.
And figure out what's going on. The thing that's really important to do is to just not give up. It can be quite frustrating. You might want to lose your temper or think, oh, I've had enough of talking about this. But just keeping going, keeping talking to them, keeping asking questions is so, so crucial. Often it can take people a long time to emerge from the conspiracy theory rabbit hole, but that doesn't mean that you should give up entirely. And if they become more isolated or pulled deeper into that social media community, it can be hard for them to ever get out. And finally, I think don't be too disheartened if there aren't effects immediately too. Just like really keep going and try not to become enemies of one another.
What she really means is she wants us to become enemies, yeah, because it suits them. Again, it's fighting. It's another divide and conquer, where you're going to have these people that say, oh, you're conspiracy theory, and then you got the other side going, no, you ain't. And again, that'll end up the profane do all the fighting while they sit back laughing their heads off while we murder each other. You know what I mean? Because they'll blame, like that always starts with a famine. Yeah, they'll say, oh, we can't get the food in because of roadblocks, or the lorries are not working, even though they own all the lorries and the transport across the world anyway. You see what I mean? And they go, oh, we can't get it. So you starve, and then you start attacking people or stealing their food. You know what I mean? And they get you that way. As long as the end results is that they survive, that's all they give a shit about. Do you know what I mean? But like I said, if you want to know and you've got any questions, just go here, look, and you can find out Freemasonry within the UK. If I can hit it, yeah. You know what I mean? Freemasonry within the UK, and just go by the numbers. You know what I mean? Number 1. What is Freemasonry within the UK? Then you got number 2, Freemasonry influences judges. Do you see what I mean? Then it goes to counsellors. It shows you everything you need to know about Freemasonry within the UK. Do you know what I mean? And you know, and we're not talking conspiracy. We're talking facts. This is facts I've put together over about 40 years of research. Do you know what I mean? You know, look, remember, there's no master or fellow craft seed any Cowan to work in his society or company, nor send none of his servants to work with Cowans, yeah? Which means, yeah, that if a Freemason wants a job, he's getting the job, yeah? And he's not allowed to hire Cowans. If he does, they got to be sackable anyway, because they always take on their own people. And that's the first thing you'll learn about Freemasons. You can go work all day long in Tesco's, Asda's, Bernard Maffei's. Do you know what I mean? You can work all day in them places, yeah. But once you get to the top paid jobs, yeah, you know, the ones that really pay the wage, what will get you the big house and all the rest of it and live well, that comes through Freemasonry. You know what I mean? And whether you get them jobs or not, it's all down to Freemasonry. Because the saying, and it's been going around for centuries, if you know about it, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Do you know what I mean? And the who you know is Freemasonry. Because if you don't know them, you ain't getting anywhere in life. Do you know what I mean? You'll be happily meeting the bread line the rest of your life and having nothing. Because these people are your slave drivers. You know what I mean? And there we go, and then that's just number 1, and you can go through that. you know. But like I said, all of this is fact. Once you wake up to it, what Freemasonry is like, with the influence, the police, you know what I mean, they're just there to protect them lords, dukes and earls, you know what I mean. They're not there to protect you. They're there to protect the elite, yeah, and the Freemasons in your community, yeah, so you don't go after them, you know what I mean, the business owners and all that, you know what I mean, because it's always their property that get done over, you know what I mean, by us, the profane, because we're always poor, do you know what I mean, so we have to steal the loaf of bread, do you know what I mean, so, but they protect their loaf of bread, you see what I mean, and they hang you for it, you know, this is all their rules, not my rules, do you know what I mean, this has been going on centuries and decades, and they'll carry on so long as we're working for them and doing their bidding. And that's why they bring all these indigenous species here, because it puts them in the background, because people don't think about them. Do you see what I mean? Because you're not, because your communities are all messed up now. Do you see what I mean? You're not like, it's not like back in the day you could talk about someone. You can't talk about anyone because you don't know who your community is. Who is your community? What is your community? None of you know, you know. I do, because I was brought up in a community. Do you know what I mean? So I know who's who in my town and what they do and what they represent. Do you know what I mean? But they've now done that away with that. Do you know what I mean? They're now covering that up, like I said, by bringing in indigenous species and mixing it up so no one knows, and it just puts them in the background so no one knows who's what and what. And so long as you don't know they run all the businesses, so long as you don't know they run all the class, you know, whether you get a job or you don't get a job or whatever, they're happy with that. Do you know what I mean? And that's how it goes on. But like I said, it's all here, you know, the gang stalkers, you know, the corruption they do is absolutely, this is what they do to the heroes, you know, and whistleblowers, you know, what anyone who reports on them, do you know what I mean? They'll kill you, hassle you, and just do away with you. Do you know what I mean? And like I said, they rely on your isolation. Do you know what I mean? Your isolation, you know, and that's what this woman now just made a speech about. They want to isolate you away from other people because they know it's cut. You know, that snowball has now gone into a boulder. Do you know what I mean? And people are waking up to it and they're scared because they know that at the end of the day, they have to do. At the end of the day, they'll have to do something. Because people are waking up to Freemasonry, but they don't want you knowing it's to do with Freemasonry. They want to keep that apron hidden behind a police uniform. They want to keep that apron hidden behind an army, you know, an army man or a navy or a seaman, you know, an aeroplane man, whatever they're called. You know, they want to hide their Masonic aprons behind that. Because once you learn who it is, like me, you're pointing your fingers at the problem. Do you know what I mean? You're going, that's that Freemason. This, you know, at the moment, everyone's going, oh, it's that chief constable. You know what I mean? Oh, it's that social services person there. It's this, that, and the other. You see what I mean? It's still separate. It's still segregated. People are still fighting on different fronts, and there's a lot of divide. Yeah, so they're conquering. Do you know what I mean? But once people go, no, you're not a policeman, you're a Freemason on an agenda wearing a hidden apron, that changes the ball game, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? But people that's coming, they're slow though, but this is all that killed Jill Dando. Do you see what I mean? When you go to expose these perverts, they kill you. That's why Jimmy Savile, Ken Dodd, you know what I mean? All of them. Do you know what I mean? All of it's been shushed up. You know what I mean? And it goes on and on and on. Gordon Brown, look, part of a paedophile ring, another MP or Prime Minister, you know what I mean? Prime Ministers in Westminster, you know what I mean? BBC, think of them all, do you know what I mean? It's all on my forum, do you know what I mean? And then you get this woman here like this, yeah? Who is she? Who's she related to? Is her background Masonic? Do you know what I mean? What favours is she getting? What payment is she taking? Do you see what I mean? And they're the questions you've got to ask about these people. You can't just take it on blind faith, do you know what I mean? Because like I said, whatever she's saying here, yeah, is still propaganda that works and puts the shoe on the other foot. Do you know what I mean? But if you just blindly follow her, I don't know who she is or what she is. Do you know what I mean? What is she? Do you know what I mean? And this is what they rely on. You know, as soon as the internet go down, what's the first thing everyone's going to do? Put their radios on. And who owns the radio stations in your towns and cities? You know, and I'm on about like Radio Broadland, Kiss, Heart, you know what I mean? All of them radio stations, all your local radio stations, do the research on it and you'll see they're all run by Freemasons. You know what I mean? Because they want to control the narrative. So on the radio, you'll turn it on, all the profane, yeah, if the internet go down or whatever, and they'll go put the radio on and they'll all listen to the broadcast going, you are being invaded by aliens, you are this, you are that, and everyone go, ah, and panic and all the rest of it. Do you see what I mean? But they'll lead you straight over a cliff because they are the Judas Goats. Do you know what I mean? And this is what you got to watch for. You know, when you, anyone, it don't matter who it is, the policeman come up, a policeman, a doctor, it don't matter what it is, the vicar, you know, look at the paedophile vicars and all of that, the rest of it, you know, they're all on agendas. Do you see what I mean? You know, I even walked into that Knights of Columbus. Remember that? Knights of Columbus were having a meeting in a church. Do you see what I mean? Again, another Masonic order, yeah, meeting in a church. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. But they want you to, all these leaders, these people you look to and look up to, you know, like Robert De Niro, all of them, Trump, fucking, you know, every one of them is corrupt as hell. Do you know what I mean? Because they're all in with the gangsters. You know what I mean? Like I said, Hollywood and gangsters go hand in hand, same as over here in London. You know, the Cray twins were in with Barbara Windsor. You know, she married a gangster, I believe. You know, Diana Dawes, you know, all them, you know, so it all goes hand in hand. Do you know what I mean? They run the clubs, they run the pubs, do you know what I mean? And then the entertainment system, when they come into the clubs, they go, how you doing? Can you do us a favour? I've got this problem. Do you know what I mean? And then the crooks go and sort the problem for the people that are stars. Do you know what I mean? Research it. Don't matter what TV programs or stars that is. They all hang around with gangsters. They've all got the money. They've got all the businesses and all the rest of it. And that's what they do. And they just will that down from nepotism year in, year out. You know what I mean? And they're protected by the police. You know what I mean? Them G travellers. You know what I mean? Have a great day, my profane friends. But definitely 100% you got to be beyond profane to believe anything this woman says. You know what I mean? Look at her.
Has fallen down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole. They believe that everything is staged or a hoax or it didn't really happen. The most important thing to do is to start a conversation.
It did happen. They killed Jill Dando. That happened. Yeah. You can see the chemtrails going across the sky. It's only the Freemasons that control everything in government. So they're the ones putting it across the sky. You know what I mean? Whether the earth is flat or not, right? Let's just put it that way. The Freemasons know because they run the governments. Do you know what I mean? JFK was killed by Freemasons. All his security were Freemasons, if you do the research. Do you see what I mean? Because they only have corrupt criminals in power of security. Research the security in your towns, yeah? Right? The security firms. And you'll see they all belong to the Masonic Lodge. Do you know what I mean? But again, you'll get door wars because they control, again, it's all over YouTube, you know what I mean? And you've got to look at some of the corrupt criminals on YouTube and they talk about it, you know, the door wars, you know, in Scotland, it was the ice cream wars, you know, what did the police do? You know what I mean? That all the criminals were running the drugs through ice cream vans. You know what I mean? Kids again, you know, grooming kids through ice cream vans. Do you see what I mean? Did anyone say anything in the communities? No. Did the police do anything? No. Do you see what I'm saying? And that still goes on today. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's another story. Have a great stay, and I love you all, baby. But remember, whatever these people say on the telly, do not believe them. You know what I mean? Don't believe me neither. You know, that's the thing. Don't believe what I'm saying, but you can go and look at my research and think, has it got validity? Do you know what I mean? From the very first time I started the posts on the 232, you know, where that was like on the churches and on the police stations. Do you know what I mean? I've just done another post on it, wherever that bloody is. Or haven't I not posted it yet? I don't know. I haven't actually posted it. I've posted it onto here. I've got yet to put it onto thingy. But I've just been around, look, and I've just done all the posts. Hello, my profane friends. This is about Masonic 232. Where it's and I'm now got to post that, and I've gone around and I've shown it. Look, see that building, okay? On all the buildings, the different 232. It's all to do with free. It's also. See, look, there's our police station, look, and I'm showing you the 232 on all the police stations, on the churches. Do you know what I mean? Everywhere there's a 232, I'm showing you. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I've done. I've filled in the gaps on there. Look, you see, it's 232, and it's also 323. Look, you see. But I'm now going to upload that, and I'll show you what it is. Look, it's in plain right. Look, the Masonic cube and the square and the compass. Look, you see. So I show it in. This is a video I'm now going to upload. But this is what they do. They can't help themselves. But that's what I mean. My stories and my theories are all backed up by evidence. Do you know what I mean? And most of it is all hidden away. What hasn't even come to light yet. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, there's a lot more I do in this town than they realise. But that's another story. My profane friends, you know what I mean? But yeah, at the end of the day, like I said, don't believe what I say. Research what I say. See if I'm telling the truth or if I'm telling the lies. But just don't take someone just because someone sits there like that for the BBC. You know what I mean? Look at my four. Oh no, I don't want to delete it. Wait there. Let's just go like this. Look, if I go BBC on here, look, whether that's too small of BBC, look, and then straight away we get no results. Oh, baby. That's because there's 3 letters in it. But like I said, it's all in there. You just got to go down it. You know what I mean? Freemasonry worldwide. Do you know what I mean? That's across the planet. I hit the wrong bloody button. But, it's all there. That's everything you need to know about Freakmasons, yeah? Even their wives and girlfriends tell you. Do you see what I mean? Then it goes on about their gang stalking. There's books there you can research back up. You know what I mean? You got drug dealers, look, kids killed by drugs, look. In the last 30 years, let's say, how many protests or parents or families have stood up and said about drug dealers in any town or city? Do you know what I mean? Very few. Do you see what I mean? Look, drugs in schools. Got my own personal words on it. Look, 23-month-old death by methadone. How does methadone get administered to children? Do you see what I mean? And this is the thing, you know what I mean? The people who are in charge of the drug dealers, they could cure them tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? That's what I believe. But they don't. They put out another drug called methadone that then gives them a double addiction. Do you see what I mean? Which then gives it more of a crime rate because they want their, they got to feed their addiction. You see what I mean? And that's what they do. They keep making things chaotic. They don't make anything better, these Freakmasons. And there it is. It's all there. You just got to read it. Look, mother ran down and murdered on CTT for 60 quid drug debt. Do you see what I mean? 10-year-old boy dies from fentanyl overdose. 4-year-old boy dies in drug overdose. 11-year-old cocaine overdose, plus many others. You know what I mean? Goes on all day. Look, 9 pages of it here. Look, you see what I mean? 9 pages. We're not talking like, something that's, that's like I've just picked up out of the thin air. This is facts. Look, 16-year-old, 16, 14. You know what I mean? And it goes on and on and on. Teen death. But you're all crazing about chemtrails, flat earth and everything else. But why aren't we hearing nothing about these people that are dealing drugs in our communities? Look, 14-year-old, 15-year-old. Legends killing these people. Legends, do you know what I mean? Look, hooked on meth at 16 years old. Now, you look at your children, and I don't care if they've just been born or going to be born, they're in your belly. Yeah, if they're in your belly, by the age of 14, they could be dead because the people in your community that are legends are selling drugs. You know what I mean? So look at that. And if you've got a 1-year-old walking about, a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, then by the time they're 14, 15, look, died after drug overdose, you've got the potential to lose your child. So why are you bringing your child up? If only for some legends within your community, which is a minor few people, believe it, that have businesses and looks respectable. Do you see what I mean? Why are you bringing your child up just to be murdered at 14 and 15? Look, 14-year-old schoolgirl died from overdose. 15-year-old boy died in hospital after taking an illegal drugs. Do you know what I mean? And it goes on and on and on. And these are all victims. Do you know what I mean? These are not, these are victims that have no say, nothing because of the drug gangs. You know what I mean? And the police are not doing nothing about it because they're complicit in it because of the money and the power it brings. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, as a 4-year-old, oh yeah, it don't matter, you can look at it yourself. But there you go, you know, and if the mum's ain't died, look, teen mum died after taking party drug, meow, meow. You know what I mean? See, and leaving all the children behind. So these people, why aren't we seeing protests or people doing something about the drug dealers? Because they are the dominant force within your communities, yeah? Because if you say anything or do anything, they come after you and kill you or shoot you or whatever, do you know what I mean? And that's what it is. But the police are doing nothing about it, because if it was, it would be back to Al Capone times, do you know what I mean? And that's when you know something's being done about it. Because the day something's gets done about it, yeah, then you'll know. Let's just put it that way. You'll all know. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, they can kill anyone they want. You know, they're the they choose whether someone lives or dies. You know what I mean? That's the basics of Freemasonry. Yeah, they're gods within your community, and they choose whether someone lives or die, and they parasite off the backs of all profane people. When you wake up to that and you know what they are and what they do, like I do with my research, then your knowledge will know no bounds within your community. You know what I mean? But why aren't we seeing people go on about this? Look, do you know what I mean? You know, nurses, no one's safe. You know what I mean? Look, boy 15 sadly dies, and 6 people between the ages of 14 and 37 arrested. Do you know what I mean? Because, like I said, the older people are grooming them. Do you know what I mean? And it goes on and on and on. You know what I mean? And the only hero we read about is this guy. You know what I mean? Look, cocaine drug dealing dad kill 3-year-old. Oh no, not him. Sorry, I thought it was another post. There's another post here where the dad goes after. Do you know what I mean? Where the dad goes after the drug dealer and kills the drug dealer. Do you know what I mean? Because that killed his son. But there you go. 13 drug death on heroin. Yeah, heroin dealing granny, yeah, draped a flag over the coffin of a dead customer and then carried on selling drugs. You see what I mean? That, you know, but you hear not one protest. You know, you'll go to LBGD groups, you'll see, you know, let's talk for women, let's change the signs in Norwich to, you know, because they're men, will change. You see what I mean? All these different protests and not one shout about drugs. And drugs has been rife for 35 years. And not one thing's been done. Your police force ain't doing nothing about it because they're complicit in it, because it keeps the chaos going within your communities. Anyway.